it's very difficult now to imagine this with steam trains clattering in and out and wagons clanking against one another and tons of coal being shipped out. And you stand here now and you think, did that actually happen here? I've had an idea that people really needed to appreciate more the hidden heritage in the Forest of Dean, the mining and the railways in particular. I first started my pursuit of this knowledge, should we say, when I was probably about 9 or 10 years old with a copy of H.W. Parr's Severn and Wye Railway and his accompanying copy, Great Western Railways, in the Dean. So with a book shoved in my pocket, I would traipse endless hours through the woods, following these old railway lines and finding the old mines and tunnels, as you see behind you here. And then that ignited a thirst, I guess, in me to find out more and more and more. As I got a little older, I realized an awful lot of people didn't appreciate at all. They didn't know what was hidden away in the Forest of Dean. So I set out to try to find some way to enlighten people. My first idea was very basically some physical signs at many of the key locations to give some information and perhaps a photograph of what once was there. It's very easy to pedal past here on a bicycle now and just think, oh, an old bridge. You might not even notice the old tunnel behind you. But just on down the valley was a colliery that produced up to 5,000 tonnes a week of coal in its heyday. Now, I was very fortunate along the way to meet two fantastic partners who luckily have great technical expertise in such things. And after many battles, we realized the signs idea was going nowhere, and Neil said we should do this as an app. Now, the very mention of the word app meant nothing to me at the time. After a very in-depth explanation of what we could achieve with the app, we arrived where we are today. The apps work on the satellite navigation system, so there's no need to worry about mobile phone reception, which isn't always brilliant in the Forest of Dean. And if you download the apps to your phone, you will have basically a page with a map showing all the places of interest upon it, and then some information. Now, the key thing to those places of interest is the transitional image that we have built. You will see a picture of this tunnel as it exists today, and that image will fade into an image of a very busy coal train emerging from that tunnel in the 1950s. This is part of the first app that we did, and we have now completed our third app. One was for Coleford Town, and the one that we have just completed is for Cinderford Town. I would hope one day to be able to cover the Forest of Dean in apps, so that rather like a book, you can read each separate chapter. The railway tracks were endlessly fascinating because they went somewhere. But as a 8, 9, 10-year-old, you didn't know where, so you'd set off on an adventure, and me and a couple of pals would pedal. And I remember coming home to my dad one day, and Dad saying, "Where have you been today?" And I said, "Cinderford. We found our way to Cinderford." And he used to sort of like indulge us a bit by going, "Ooh, that's a long way." I really want people to try to get that now and come to the forest or from the forest and get those senses of adventure, that you're finding out what it once was like. And it's all there, it's all still there. Say Mother Nature's softened it all, but it's all still there.
I'm Mike Brooks, and I'm here to talk about the Geology of the Forest project, which is part of the Foresters Forest project. As part of the geology aspect, I've produced this app called Geo Heritage of the Dean. This app is a free app. It's available on the Apple App Store, Google Play for the Android phones and so on. And it contains an introductory section which chats a bit about the app and how to use it and all the rest of it. It also has a section called Rocks Beneath, which takes you through some of this information and more about the rocks that underlie the forest. It also contains a section called Deep History, which looks at the deep time history of the forest. And this is a very, very deep history. And also we have a section here called Free Mining. So that looks at the important heritage of the mining of the forest by the so-called free miners for coal and also for iron ore and for rocks. But also you have this section on walks. So you have a total of 10 walks covering all different parts of the forest. We've got Sudeley Valley, which is where we are here, Bixlade, Breamskulls, Buckstone, Clearwellick and so on. And these walks can be downloaded onto your phone, and every one of the walks contains a map which shows you where you are. So it shows the route of the map, and GPS is constantly showing you your location, so you shouldn't really get lost. It tells you about the rocks that you're walking on over underneath. There's reconstructions of what we think the environment was perhaps like at that particular point. Another walk which is also available, which I'd strongly recommend doing, is called the Deep Time Walk, which uses the linear park at Cinderford to represent the 500 million years of Earth history, which includes the formation of the rocks of the Forest of Dean. And that's scale, so as you do the walk, you actually see the sequence of events that were occurring and get a feel for the time. And the crazy thing is, you start at the start of this walk. It's about 1.7 miles long, so not too long, but the last 1.5 millimeters of that walk represents the whole of human history from the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. But also along that walk, you'll find lots of creatures from the past that you can take selfie photographs of. They pop up on your phone, so explore it. So download the Geo Heritage app and enjoy using it. Nice walks and an opportunity to learn about the geology and the interaction of that geology with the people and the mining, history and so on of the forest.
The Walking with Wheels project has been running here now in the Forest of Dean for 4.5 years through the Foresters Forest Heritage Landscape Programme, and consists of 2 mobility trampers, so the vehicle that I'm sat on here today, and they allow anyone to access the beauty, the heritage, the culture of the Forest of Dean, anyone that may have any form of mobility issues. So not necessarily a disability, but it may be shortness of breath, they may be recovering from sort of a foot operation and just want to do everyday normal things with family and friends across the Forest of Dean. One of the lovely things about the trampers is actually we've tried to give them a personality. So the 2 that we have here in the Forest of Dean are named after their funders. So we have Barney at Forest Holidays, and then today I've actually sat here with Belle, sponsored by KW Bell. When you've got grandparents going out with grandchildren and stuff, it just brings another talking point to what is already a really special occasion. So Bell becomes the mechanism to actually connect those generations together. The project has been a huge success, with now around 1,000 people actually gaining access to our forest. The trampers operate via a nationwide scheme run by Countryside Mobility from Devon, which is a charity looking at sort of accessibility into our rural communities. Membership of the scheme can range from £2.50 for a 2-week taster up to an annual membership of £10, and that will allow you access to any of the trampers in, I think it's around 40 locations across the country. And then it's a pay-as-you-use basis, so it's just £2.50 an hour. Residents and visitors alike can explore the 5 routes that we have here in the Forest of Dean. One of the main benefits we found from this scheme, talking to users, is the real positive impact it has on their mental health and general well-being. We underestimate the value of people just being able to get out and about and connect with nature, and it's constantly the message that comes back: the tramper is the vehicle that's made the difference.